Local commitment down at the high school level. Peyton Sullivan pulls the trigger on Wayne State. The St. Cecilia junior plays club ball for South Central and led the Hawkettes to the 8th seed at the state tournament in November. There, they ended as a quarterfinalist, losing to eventual Class C2 state champion Lincoln Lutheran. Sullivan will play her senior year committed to the Wildcats, the 19th ranked team in Division II at the end of last season.